Hi, my name is Judy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go With Yin Yoga. Today I have a quick tutorial on legs up the wall and all its many variations, because there are many ways to find the variation that feels right to your body. This is my go-to pose if I've been traveling, if I've been driving, if I'm just stretched out, had a really tough workout, and I just need to relax, but I don't really feel like doing yoga. This is a great pose. Now, I'm going to suggest a lot of different blocks, a lot of different props. You don't have to have them all. This is just to show you ways to get creative, especially if you're traveling, and all the different variations to feel it out in your body and see what works for you. So you might want to bolster if you have that. If you're traveling, you may or may not have what. A couple of pillows could work well. A lot of pillows could work well. A couple of blankets could also work very well. If you have blocks with you, or if the hotel happens to give you blocks, that is nice to have, but I realize when you're traveling, not everybody travels with a block like I do. Harder and harder to find substitute. Books make really good substitutes, but a lot of us don't have books anymore. A full suitcase, maybe for certain things. What else could work? Instead of the blocks, you could use a chair, you could use a sofa, you could use the bed perhaps, and I will show you that later. Okay, so let's get right into it. And I'm coming down off the block, and I do want to have that close by. This is even a pose you can do in a bed, but let's start with tradition. So tradition is you get next to wall. You get your hips close next to the wall as you possibly can. Begin to come down on your elbows, maybe holding onto that wall, and just swing your legs up and around. And there you go. That is it. This is the traditional legs up the wall. And you can also start with your knees bent and your feet against the wall. And if you want to stay there, go for it. That's fine. It's going to have a lot of the same benefits. If not, you stretch your feet straight up the wall, just like the pose name indicates. So what are the benefits of legs up the wall? This can lower blood pressure, and for that reason, if you have uncontrolled low or high blood pressure, you have to be cautious. If you have things like glaucoma, perhaps sciatica pain, hernia, you have to listen to your body and be cautious. And if you're pregnant also. Now, another variation is to open your legs into a straddle like this. I like to start out, my legs straight up the wall. And then I often like to open my legs into a straddle like this, because I can actually get a deeper straddle at the wall than I can sitting on the floor. Gravity is your friend, as always. So this is another variation, gets more into your inner thighs, obviously. And a strap. That's the one prop I did not mention. That is another thing. The tie from a bathrobe works well for this. And so with a strap, if you have a resistance band, this is just a resistance band, you can tie it around your lower legs or your thighs, and then you just knot it. So obviously you're not trying to cut off your circulation, but you are trying to give your legs something to relax into, and that can help to let your legs more fully relax. And let's circle back around to the benefits. Another benefit of this pose is that it helps us get into our parasympathetic nervous system. That is our rest and digest. So if you're traveling and you want to get a good night's sleep and your legs are tired, legs up the wall is your new best friend. Okay, go ahead and remove that strap. Now, another thing you can do, if you do have a book or something that is book-like, you can take your feet to the wall and lift your hips and slide that block right underneath your sacrum. And that just helps to bring this more into an inversion where your head is below your heart, which brings me to the next benefit of this position, is that it helps the lymph and the blood flow back towards the heart more easily. That can help with things like leg fatigue. It can also help with things like swelling. If your legs tend to swell when you travel, this can help with that issue. Now, another thing you can do, I'm going to lift my hips and remove the block. There's a lot of things you can do with this pose. Okay, I'm going to snuggle back to the wall. Now, there are some variations that are not legs up the wall. There are other yoga asana at the wall, but they can also have very similar effects to calm you down, to help you get a good night's sleep, to help with swelling. Okay, so one of them is to bring the soles of your feet together and bend your knees out to either side, either wall. And this is just, as it's known in yin, it's known as butterfly. As it's known in hatha yoga, it is bound angle. And this is really nice for your hips, which tend to get very tight when we're sitting a lot, when we travel. Another very, very calming asana. And another thing you can do is take your leg down. You can cross it. So this is a variation of figure 4, as I call it. You can do it with your leg up. With the leg up, you're going to get a little bit into the hamstring of the opposite leg. You can bend your leg, which is actually, you're going to get a fairly strong stretch here. What else? And you can do a tree at the wall, right? Take your sole of your foot to the leg that is straight up towards the ceiling, bend the knee of the opposite leg out towards the side, and you are in tree at the wall. Also another very nice calming and good to get into your hips. All right, so I'm going to take my soles of my feet back down and just roll over. Oh, but wait, we are not done yet. There are a lot of variations. Like I said, this is one of my go-to poses. Okay, very similar to using a block. You can use a bolster. And if you've watched any of my videos, I use legs up the wall quite often because I'm a runner, and it is really, really great for runners. It's great for anyone who's done a hard workout. It's a little awkward to get into. And that's when you need a blanket to pad your head. And I'm going to move this block out of the way. So it's once again, it's making it into an inversion at the wall. I'm going to use this so that my head has some support. And you're going to come to sit on your bolster a little way away from the wall. And sorry. This is just, I don't know why. It's always really, really awkward. You want it like a couple of inches away from the wall. I always struggle with that. So, you're sitting on the bolster, you're coming down on the bolster, hips are towards the wall, and you're going to, again, swing your legs up. Oh, good. For once, I've actually done it right. And this is what the blanket is for. And you basically want, you kind of wiggle back. You want your hips on your bolster. Don't have a bolster? A lot of beds, hotel beds do have bolsters. If you don't, grab a couple of pillows. That will also work very well too. This is, like I said, extremely similar to using a block. It's unlikely that you're going to have a block. I do often travel with one when I'm driving anyway. And this is also, the bolster is much softer, of course. It really allows you to relax into the pose. And to get out of this pose, you're going to bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet, lift your hips, remove that bolster, and then just gently let your legs fall over to one side. Oh, but wait, there is yet more. If none of those variations work for you, I've got one that is very simple. Let me get this bolster out of the way. We don't need it for that. Take the soles of your feet to your mat. Slowly come down onto your back fully. Head is on the mat. Walk your feet toward your glutes and then just raise one leg towards the ceiling and then the other, flexing the feet. And as you can see, you are in legs up the wall without a wall. And this is accessible anywhere. I mean, you may not want to lay down on an airport floor and do this, but, you know, you can do this without a prop. That is my point, and it has the same benefits. If you do have a prop, if you do have a bolster, if you do have a block, again, you can lift your hips, slide them under, and you can do a slightly inverted. Now, if none of this works for you, if absolutely none of this works for you, if you have a chair or a couch, obviously I don't have that in this room. I'm going to use blocks. So if you do have blocks, or if you do have books, you can use that. I'm going to use blocks. I'm going to take one block. These are nice cork blocks, so they don't knock over as easily. And take the other block on top, so basically it's in a little T position. And you're going to lay down and take your legs on top. So if you have a chair, your calves would be on your chair. If the bed is accessible, you could do this with your legs on a bed, but most beds are really too high. A coffee table, maybe put a blanket over, and like I said, a chair or a couch really can work quite well. You just want to raise the legs somewhat. So, this has been incredibly awkward for me, but I hope that it's been helpful for you. I think I got all the benefits. Yeah, I think so. Lowers blood pressure, I think I said that. Legs up the wall. It is incredibly, that's the word I'm searching for, incredibly calming, replenishing, gets you into your parasympathetic nervous system. We all know how stressful travel is these days, so we need that. We need to relax. We need to rest and digest, which is what the parasympathetic nervous system is all about. So I have a very short restorative practice to follow this somewhat short tutorial of legs up the wall. Happen to use legs up the wall in that practice. I invite you to stick around, join me in that practice. It's my go-to practice when I am really just spent, just exhausted. I do not want to practice, but I know I need to do something to completely relax. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something today. If you have a favorite variation of legs up the wall, go ahead and comment. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And every day, remember, go inside and find the calm and the bliss. It really is always waiting there for you if you reach for it.